Well, if not, we're going to be back in Matthew chapter 5 this morning. Matthew chapter 5. We're going to be going and continuing the sermon series on the Sermon on the Mount, going into the second part of lessons in living. I'll get it out. Lessons in living. We talked about it a few weeks back, and we're going to continue with it a little bit this morning. And to do so, we want to just maybe do a little bit of a review here in a moment. And I don't know, church, we need to consider some of the areas of our lives and how we can let people know Jesus. We really do. I just read there about one of the candidates talking about, I don't know what the legal term of it is, but it boils down to where if you get in the pulpit and you preach against different lifestyles of living, that you can get in trouble for it. And so, we've got, as a church, we've got to rise up. Amen. As a pastor, I will never quit preaching the gospel. Amen. They can put me in chains and lock me up and throw away the key, but I'm going to preach the gospel. I'm not going to get away from preaching God's truth. And the main reason I'm not going to do that is because not only of what God has done in my life, but what He wants to do in other people's lives that needs to be proclaimed. Yes. He says in His Word that we're not to be ashamed. For if we're ashamed of Him, He'll be ashamed of us. And I don't know about you, but that scares me. That scares me. I don't want to stand before the Lord and hear, "Depart from me, you work." But Lord, I've done all these things in your name, but depart from me, you work of iniquity, for I knew you not. I want to hear, my wife said, got to be more positive. I said, okay, so I'll turn that into a positive. I want to hear good, well done, good and faithful servant. That's a positive. Amen? Well done, good and faithful servant. So as we continue our journey through the Sermon on the Mount this morning, I want us to consider some of the more serious areas of the Christian life. We talked about the Beatitudes. We talked about the truth of them and how we are to live those out in our lives. And if we have those areas in our lives as our foundation and we are living those Beatitudes out in our lives, then all these other areas of God's Word, especially what we're going to be looking at in the rest of the Sermon on the Mount, all these are not going to be a problem for us to live by. These are essential, and they're builders upon which we can live our lives that can survive anything that comes our way. It's well documented fact this morning that people who have absolute faith and confidence in God recover from disasters and and more quickly from illnesses than any others around. A report in the USA Today back in July, at the end of July of 1993, it stated that a study made by Stanford. Now listen to this. Stanford University is not a Christian university, and the University of Pennsylvania. And they pointed out that, quote, people who have absolute belief in the Bible are less prone to depression and despondency than those who do not believe. Those of us who take Jesus at face value are never without hope. You hear what I'm saying? When we take Him for who He really is and what He wants to do in our lives as a church, we are not without hope. And I know there's chemical depression. I know there's drug-induced depression, chemical depression, and I know there's drug-induced depression. And you can't tell me that drugs don't have an effect on the mind. But let me tell you also, there are circumstantial depression. Things in life that begin to weigh on us and tear us down. And before you know it, we're depressed. We don't want to face tomorrow. We're not looking at we're lucky to get through today. And in those depression times, that can even happen to the Christian. And we got to reach out and get a hold of Jesus' hand and get through those times and know that He will get us through. And this too will pass by. Amen. This too will pass. And we need to trust that and believe His word today. Amen. And trust Him in the hope that He gives us. And so a brief review of the source of our hope, I think, is appropriate as we move on this morning. And so, once again, blessed, okay, that means happy, right? Blessed, happy are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Happy or blessed are those who mourn, for they shall be comforted. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. And blessed are the hunger, or they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled. Verse 7, blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. Blessed are the pure in heart, for they shall see God. Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God. Blessed are they, that have been persecuted for righteousness' sake, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. Blessed are ye when men shall reproach you and persecute you and say all manner of evil against you falsely for my name's sake. Rejoice and be exceedingly glad, for great is your reward in heaven, for so persecuted they the prophets that were before you. We are not alone in this world when they attack us. People have gone and they're, as I mentioned, they mentioned in district assembly or family camp about how many people in the church, the Christian faith, are being persecuted. How Muslims are coming to the Lord Jesus Christ in other countries, not because of spread of mouth and somebody witnessing to it, but from visions and things that they're seeing, and they're coming and giving their hearts and lives to Jesus, and yet being persecuted and killed for that faith. We need our lives to be built on the Beatitudes. And the last time we looked at what was expected of us when we lived that out in our life was from verses 13 through 16, where we talked about being the salt of the earth. And if salt have lost its Savior, with that, where shall it be salted? It is thenceforth good for nothing, but to be cast out and trodden underfoot of men. Ye are the light of the world. A city set on a hill cannot be hid. Neither do men light a lamp and put it under the bushel, but on the stand, and it shineth unto all that are in the house. Even so, let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father who is in heaven. Folks, we are to be salt and light to the lost and dying ones. I told you I celebrated our 40th class reunion, and we went to the dinner last night, and as I gave my information to the person who was registering those who were coming, they texted me right back and said, hey, would you mind doing the blessing on the food? And I said, no, it'd be an honor, and I'd be very blessed to do it. And then before I knew it, I was responding back, is it okay to give a personal testimony of what God has been doing in my life? I have to be honest with you. I looked around to make sure that was somebody. In fact, I thought the Lord hacked my texting. I really did. I thought, because where did that come from? You know, I mean, anyhow, I ended up doing that last night. And cut it down from a sermon to just a little testimony, but I had been afforded that opportunity. And I hadn't been so nervous. I told some of them, I said, I've not been as nervous of getting up and doing something like that since my first day of Tina Ruggerio's class as a freshman, and she made us get up and read our book reports. I looked down, my knees were knocking. I hated it like you would not believe, to get up in front of people. That's why I was so shocked that God was asking me to do what I've done for the last 20 years. But anyhow, we need to be light and salt. And I shared with them what God has done in my life. And a few of them came up afterwards and said how much they appreciated that being said and done. I don't know if it touched anybody, but I was just trying to be obedient and be what God wanted me to be at that time. And so we need to take some more look at the Scripture this morning and see what God is still asking us to do beyond being the salt and light. So in verse 17 he says this, "Think not that I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I came not to destroy, but to fulfill. For verily I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass away, one jot or one tittle shall in no wise pass away from the law till all things be accomplished. And whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments, and shall teach men so, shall be called least in the kingdom of heaven, but whosoever shall do and teach them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. For I say unto you, that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, ye shall in no wise enter the kingdom of heaven." I just ask that God would bless His word this morning as we look into this passage. Father, that you would speak to our hearts. Challenge us. Challenge us to be able to say to people, "Do you know my Savior? Do you know my friend? Do you know my Lord?" In Christ's name we pray. Amen. This passage of Scripture, as we're looking at lessons in living and continuing to grow on what we've learned, not only from the Beatitudes, but being salt and light. This passage that we looked at here is a clear call, my friend, to righteousness, rather than religious living. I can do all the religious things in the world. I can pray. I can tithe. I can go to church every time the doors are open. I can teach a Sunday school class, pastor at church. I can do all these religious things, but that doesn't determine whether or not I make it to heaven. What determines my relationship with God is being born again and living right before Him. There is too much religion in our world without the reality of Jesus. You can learn to be good in so many other religions in the world, but they don't give you or lead you to a personal relationship with the living God through His Son, Jesus Christ. One of the things that should be a concern to every church or every person that names the name of Jesus is, why are more and more churches showing a decline, or at least a plateau in church attendance? It should concern us. It should concern us this morning to look around of all the empty seats. in our church today. But it's not happening just here. It's happening a lot of places, many places. And it should concern each and every one of us. Lord, what can I do to tell people about Jesus? What is it I can do to be more bold in my faith? Well, as I shared with you a couple of weeks ago, one of the reasons that I believe that this is happening, it's more than just what we say with our mouth, it's how we live out our lives. What do I mean by that? Is that if the righteousness of Christians in our world today was more evident in our world today, then more people would be interested in coming to know Jesus Christ because they'll see a difference of what He can make in an individual's life. My testimony up there last night was good and fine, but I cannot partake or be a part of that life anymore, or else the people would not know what Jesus done and how He changed my life. I am no longer the same person. I have been transformed by the blood of Jesus Christ. And it is He that has given me life and given me more abundant. And so the lack of this in our lives, the lack of commitment, the lack of consistency in our lives as church members. If my people who are called by my name will turn from their wicked ways, it says in the Scripture. 2 Chronicles 7:14, if my people who were called by my name would turn from their wicked ways. Church, that's us. Why is the world like it is today? I believe it's because the church became dead. The church didn't stand up. It didn't preach from the pulpits what needed to be preached. It didn't witness. It didn't live out their faith in the communities and allow the evil to rise up among us. And because of that, it brings a cloud over the entire church. You are responsible not only to God, but we're responsible for one another and for the church. And I'm not just talking the Church of the Nazarene here at Blennerhassett. I'm talking about the Church of Jesus Christ, the body of Christ. They laugh at us sometimes when we say we're Christians. Yeah, I know that. Show it to me, though. The relationships in our homes, they need to be a model to the world that reflects God's plan for families. He is the one that instituted the family. He is the one that instituted marriage back in Genesis. He's done all this. And how we live out our lives in our own home needs to be a model of what God has called us to be. He's given us different roles and things as men and women and boys and girls and children in our lives. He's given us different roles. I just had a meeting with a young person or a younger parent, and they were having a relationship problem, and I'm trying to give them. The bottom line is that parents need to honor their children and raise them up in the Word of God and teach them the ways of God. And when they're old, they're not to depart from that. And yet, on the same hand, the children have a responsibility to honor and cherish their parents and respect them. It's a two-way street. We got to do our parts in what God calls us to do. As husbands and wives, we got to do our part. We got to be more than just listening to the letter of the law. It's got to be lived out each and every day. Some businesses, they do questionable practices as Christian businesses. I mean, a lot of companies have come from a foundation of Christian faith. I think Walmart was at one time a Christian organization. Montgomery Ward's, there's several of them. I mean, look at Chick-fil-A. They are now outperforming in their sales and everything, I think, McDonald's. Why? Because they're following God's word and what the family and their stance on all those things. My son started his business last year, and he's been trying to do everything according to the way God would be proud of it. And when he did, I started getting videos and trying to help him understand and God and what the business practices were. And there's one video I get. It's called "It's His Turf." Capital H. It's his turf. It's a guy that has started a business out west somewhere, and it's all Christian based. And this guy is just his business has flourished. He's got crews now and so forth and so on. And he's not only keeping it to himself, but he's teaching and giving these videos out on YouTube to help other people in business, young people in business who want to base their business on Christ and what it is. And then there's our social behavior. Our social behavior. For some, their social behavior does not reflect the attitude of Jesus. My friends, that may be when we get on Facebook and say things that we wouldn't say to God Himself. When we go to our restaurants or whatever and sit down for the meal and we don't pray over our meal, people see that. And I'm not saying we pray over our meals just so people can see it. We should be praying over our meal because we want to live right. Not because we know it's right. You understand the difference, right? There is a difference, and that's what Jesus is talking about here. If we live the Beatitudes, then God's commands, the 10 commandments and other commandments that are in God's word, they will be no problem, and our standard of righteousness will exceed the righteousness of those who live by the letter of the law. And that is what Jesus is telling us in this passage. He says in verse 19 that whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men. Wow, what a responsibility. I've just seen a post. I think it was a church sign. And it said, we'd rather see 2 men holding hands than 2 men holding guns. Now, I agree with the last statement. Guns in the wrong way is wrong. But it's not the gun. In fact, I heard on Fox News, I think it was just last night, that the problem is not going to be changed by a president. It's not going to be changed by teachers in a school. It's not going to be changed by enforcing new laws. The only thing that's going to change the evil in our world today is people coming to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. Amen. You can lay all the laws down. You can teach them all the rights and wrongs of life, but unless the heart is changed. And this, I heard this from a presidential, I can't remember his name, but years ago, 20 years ago, he was I think a senator or someone for Maryland, and he was African American, and I wished he would have became president. Because he had a dinner thing that he was having to raise funds. He got up and he spoke that, folks, it's not going to change unless people give their lives to the Lord. Amen. I don't think of his name, but that's the truth. We can, and we have, as teachers and as leaders in the church, as pastors of churches, you and I have a great task here. We've got to preach the truth. We've got to teach the truth. I hope you never hear me say something that goes against Scripture from the pulpit. If you do, challenge me on it. But whosoever therefore shall break one of these least commandments and shall teach men so shall be the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall do and teach them, he shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. The Amplified Bible says it this way. Whoever then breaks one or does away with or relaxes one of the least important of these commandments and teaches men to do so, or so shall be called least important in the kingdom of heaven. We can't water it down. We gotta proclaim the gospel of Jesus Christ and let the Holy Spirit do the work. His word does not come back void. And people who cause others to struggle in their faith, they're going to be in real trouble when they face the judgment seat of Christ. We are responsible, my friend, for keeping and teaching the 10 Commandments. No genuine Christian would ever want to break any of God's law. The second part that I see in this passage is that Jesus is calling those who believe in Him to live beyond those commandments and to thereby challenge the world to a higher standard of living. I'm reaching, how's the song go? Higher ground. I'm reaching. I'm moving. I want to get to a higher place, a higher way of living my Christian life. I don't want to just go by a bunch of rules. Because the rules, the law, is what I think is going to make me right. It's not. It's only God living in my heart. For I say to you that except your righteousness shall exceed the righteousness of the scribes and the Pharisees, you shall no wise enter into the kingdom of God. There are too many proclaiming and professing to know Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior and going to make it to heaven who are living on a fence. One day they're doing things for God, the other day they're living for the world. It doesn't work. Church, we've got to make a decision. Are we going to go all out for God, or are we just going to continue down the road that leads to destruction? My friend, too many are doing the fence riding. This condition that is living a right life, begins by recognizing our absolute dependence upon God. I cannot live and walk in holiness unless I am totally dependent upon the Holy Spirit and want to do what's pleasing to God. You've got a free will. You've got to make a choice. Randy mentioned it in Sunday school class this morning that he didn't put Adam and Eve in the garden and program them, basically, of what I got from, program them to live a certain way. He put them in the Garden of Eden to be able to love Him in a special way that they would please Him. They were given a choice to do that. But along with it comes the old devil himself. And he throws another option out there. They had a choice they couldn't ride the fence post, they couldn't do both. And when they chose to follow the devil and what he was telling them, God confronted them. God asked him, Adam, where are you? He knew where they were. Why'd you sew fig leaves together? He knew why they done all that. He just wanted them to admit what they done wrong. And that's what we need to do. We need to admit the things that we do wrong and get it right with God so He can guide our life in the way that it should go. Folks, it's up to you and me. We have to live above the letter of the law, and we only can do that when we're depending completely and totally on Jesus Christ. And this leads to the righteousness that exceeds the righteousness of the Pharisees and the Sadducees and the scribes all of those days, who depended upon their lives to live right by laws and ceremonies. Paul wrote, let me just get you to understand. They not only had God's word, but how do I live? How should I eat my meal? And so they had to wash their hands certain ways. They made up laws that you had to hold your hands down and pour the water down so the dirt would come off. All kinds of things they added. I don't know, I heard recently over 1,000 additional things other than what Scripture says. I mean, just hundreds of things that if you do this, you'll be right. You see, that's not what it is. It's a change in the heart that motivates you and guides you, and where you don't want to do anything that hurts God or saddens Him or disappoints Him. I want to live my life in such a way that I don't disappoint Him, that He can say to me without doubt, "Well done, good and faithful servant." He wants that of you. He wants us to live. He doesn't want us to have to worry about, where's that law at? How do I do this? No. He wants us to listen and to the Holy Spirit. He wants us to be guided by His Word. And that way we know that we're pleasing, and our righteousness shall exceed the righteous. I mean, that's how they lived their lives. By laws and ceremonies. You had to do this and this and this and this. Paul learned. He was one of them, right? He was one of them. But he had an experience on the road to Damascus. He had an experience that changed him, that transformed him. And in that transformation, he was able, in Galatians chapter 2, verse 20, to pen this verse. It is, he says, I've been crucified with Christ. I've been crucified with Christ. That meant he had to come to a dying experience in his life. He had to come to a point in his life that he had to go through the death process of self. He says, I've been crucified with Christ, and it's no longer I who live, okay? But Christ lives in me. It's no longer self on the throne wanting to do its way. It's now Christ ruling my life, guiding my life. It's not the letter of the law any longer. It's the Holy Spirit. It's Christ's Spirit living in me. It's no longer I who live, but it's Christ who lives in me. Why? Because I've been crucified with Christ. He had an experience in his life where he died to self. He says, and the life which I now live in the flesh, that means in this tent, that means in this body, that doesn't mean in the desires of this body, but that means that this tent that he lives in, he says, the life I live now in this flesh, I live by faith in the Son of God, not by the letter of the law, but by faith in the Son of God. I put my trust completely and totally in God's hands. That's where he wants each and every one of us. And I live by faith in the Son of God who loved me and gave himself for me. He loved you. He gave himself for you. Wow. And in turn, we need to crucify the flesh, the desires of the flesh. We need to crucify our desire. Get self off the throne. Realize that the things I want to do that I don't do is because self is wanting its way. We're trying to live for God, the Christian life. We are Christians. We're trying to live for God. But yet there's a battle inside that says, no, I want to have things my way. Was it Frank Sinatra? Have it my way? Yeah. God's way, not my way. Father, if this cup could pass from me, yet not my will, but thy will be done. And that's what Paul's talking about here, in my opinion. He's talking about that if I'm going to love God, because he did give his son to die on a cross because of my sin. Personalize it this morning, church. It's your sin that drove the nails. The song says, does he still feel the nails every time I go that I sin? Or, in other words, anytime I'm disobedient, anytime I don't do his will, anytime I don't say what he wants me to say, and that disappoints God. I want to be pleasing. I know you want to be pleasing to God and for what he's done for us. Paul's saying, unless our righteousness, however, exceeds external religious practices, we do not belong to the kingdom of heaven. You see, the real test for a holy life, my friend, is our relationship with God. All this other stuff cannot save us. It can make us look good, okay? But it cannot save us. Only a relationship with Christ. And our attitude toward God makes a difference in the world that we are living in. Our attitude is expressed from our love that we have for God. How I act in this world, in my life, all depends upon loving God with all my heart, mind, soul, and strength, and my neighbor as myself. You see, that's the 10 Commandments wrapped up into 2 statements. Jesus was asked, which is the greatest commandment? And that's what he told the Pharisees. He wrapped everything up into 2 commands. And it boils down to love. Do we love God the way he loved us? And when we truly love God, living up to the righteousness that exceeds the righteousness of the Pharisees will be no problem for us. You see, there's some people in the Old Testament that prove this. In Daniel chapter 3, we're told that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego done some pretty brave stuff in their day and refused to bow to the golden statue. And Daniel done some things in his life that, well, they were on the cutting edge of being right with God, because it could have cost them their lives. And no one but God would have known if they would have tried to fudge it. If those 3, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, would have bowed down to that golden image, only just to bow down and not worship it, but just bow down, so it made everybody look and think that they were doing what everybody, and even in their heart, they weren't bowing down. The only one that would have known that was God. However, their commitments to God were so complete that the world saw righteousness demonstrated when they refused to bow down. When they refused to do or not pray or whatever it is. And as a result, listen to me, as a result, their witness, their life was attracted other people. Verse 28 of chapter 3. Nebuchadnezzar, after seeing this with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and seeing that fourth man in the fire walking, Nebuchadnezzar spake and said, Blessed be the God of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. They're witness. They're standing up. They're making it through, and we're willing to give their life in a fire. Was a witness enough to this king that he came out and said, Blessed be the God who hath sent his angel and delivered his servant that trusted in him and have changed the king's words and have yielded their bodies that they might not serve nor worship any God except their own God. That's what a living out a life for the love of God will do, my friend. They weren't living by the letter of law. They were living to worship God. And then Daniel chapter 6, verse 23, when Daniel was confronted and thrown into the den, then the king, and I think it was Darius is the king. Anyhow, he was exceedingly glad when he came down and he saw that Daniel was not eaten up by lions, and commanded that they should take Daniel up out of the den. And so Daniel was taken up out of the den, and no manner of hurt was found upon him, because he trusted in his God. And the king commanded, now this is because of what Daniel did. He got tricked into putting Daniel in there. And the king commanded, and they brought those men that had accused Daniel, that tricked the king, and they cast them into the den of lions, their children, and their wives. My friend, sin is going to destroy not just you. And it threw their whole family. And the lions had the mastery of them and break all their bones in pieces before they came to the bottom of the den. Then King Darius, I was right, Darius wrote unto all the peoples, nations, and languages that dwelt in all the earth, Peace be multiplied unto you. I make a decree that in all the dominions of my kingdom men tremble and fear before the God of Daniel. For he is a living God, and steadfast forever. And his kingdom that which shall not be destroyed, and his dominion shall be even unto the end. And he delivered and rescued, and he worketh signs and wonders in heaven and on earth, who hath delivered Daniel from the power of the lions. And so this Daniel prospered in the reigns of Darius and in the reigns of Cyrus of Persia. Why? Because he done the right thing in all circumstances. Refused to eat the king's diet. About all those things that Daniel did and that we read about in Scripture. And did you catch it? Before the people that they threw, that these lions were hungry. And they didn't touch Daniel. Before these were others that were thrown in there, before they hit the ground, they were devoured. They were hungry. I said, okay, is it still okay to give my testimony before prayer tonight? One of the girls looked at me and said, keep it a little short. People are hungry. Probably been in a church, not with me, but probably been in a church service where she understood what was being said there. You see, our world, folks, and this is serious as a heartbeat, our world needs to witness this same level of commitment that we believe, so that we may experience, or so that they may experience God in their lives. We have to live this life of righteousness. We have to be Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego in our world today. And you think about it. That's what it takes. In our world today, it's going against the grain. It's easy to swim with the fishies downstream. It's a little more difficult to swim not only upstream, but against all the other fishies. But that's the church that God wants us to be. To stand up for whatever's right. Stand with me. Well, Father, as we come to the close of this service this morning, we want to say thank you. Lord, may you be glorified in all that we do. May we as the church, may we as the church here at Blennerhassett live our lives in such a way that people will know a difference and would want to know a little bit more about what makes us that way. And Lord, may we be doing it not by rules and regulation, but out of the love we have for you. And Lord, we know when we do it out of the love we have for you, we'll be following those rules and regulations. So help us this morning, Lord. If anyone here this morning has been spoken to by the Holy Spirit in any way, maybe something said or maybe something He has laid on their heart this morning, I pray that they wouldn't let this day go by without getting low with you and asking you to strengthen them, to change them, maybe even to forgive. Lord, we want to just see people come to know Jesus Christ. Do they know? Do they know it from your life this morning? May it be so, Lord, in all that we do and say. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. Go with God and you'll never go wrong, church. Shake hands with one another. You may be dismissed.